morning, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And we come to what many people believe is the best weekend of the NFL season, the divisional round weekend, where we have, to me, it's a very unusual divisional round because we have, for the first time in a while, I think for the first time ever, we have two number one seeds that are not great teams, automatic teams. Back in the 1970s and 80s, even in the early to mid 90s, number one seeds were almost automatic to go to the Super Bowl, especially if they were in the NFC. Now we have two teams that they're good, they're pretty good, but they're not great. These aren't teams we're going to remember, 10, 15 years from now. Nobody's going to talk about the Broncos and the Seahawks 10, 15 years from now, even if they win the Super Bowl, These games are going to be, I think there's going to be two great games. I think there'll be one ugly game, and I think there'll be a slugfest in the other. But let's go to the first matchup of the day, which will be tomorrow. That's the Broncos. That's the Bills. The Broncos are the number one seed. They have home field advantage throughout the playoffs as long as they survive, and they are underdogs to the Buffalo Bills. And there is no player, there is no quarterback, and there is no team that has as much pressure on them to go and win the Super Bowl this year than Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. There's no Mahomes. There's no Baltimore. There's no excuse. Now, Allen is going up against a ferocious defense. Denver is a hard place to play. Their pass rush is beyond elite, 68 sacks in the regular season this year. The Bills have more experience. They have a huge gulf in edge at quarterback. The Broncos have an edge at coach, which is significant in the playoffs. Allen has injuries to his finger, his foot, his knee. Jacksonville beat him up last week. The Bills they must score in the red zone against the Broncos. The Broncos' red zone efficiency is tremendous, especially at Mile High Stadium. And you know how that crowd can be. The test for Allen during Sunday's game will be his mobility and how he can throw that football. I think this is Allen's time. I don't think the Bills will have a better opportunity of going and winning a Super Bowl than now. I don't think the Broncos are very good. I think they have they're great on defense. They have a great coach. I'm just suspect about that offense. I'm not really feeling Bo Nix. I think Allen does enough. I think the Bills do enough to survive in a 23-20 win over the Broncos tomorrow. Josh Allen must win this game tomorrow. It's all on him tomorrow. This is a team that relies heavily on their quarterback, probably more so than any other team in the playoffs. And he'll have to give them everything he's got. And believe me, he's going to get beat up tomorrow. They have to do max protects on him all game long, which could affect their passing game, could affect their running game. If the Bills can't run the football at all, the Broncos are just going to tee off on him like there's no tomorrow. They will show him no mercy. And that might be the deciding factor. I think the Bills will survive. I think the Bills will get out of there with a very tight win. And I think this will be the win that will elevate Allen to he's considered an elite quarterback. You're not elite until you go to the Super Bowl. You can't. You can't be. I mean, is he gonna? Is he a Hall of Fame? Does he have Hall of Fame caliber skills? Yeah. Could he make the Hall of Fame without going to the Super Bowl? Yeah, we've seen it before. But is he going to be remembered as one of those great all-time quarterbacks? No, not if he doesn't win. At least make it to the game. This is their year. But it starts in Denver, and it starts against the best, without question, the best pass rush in football. Now we're going to move on to a place that I really don't want to go to, but I have to. 8 o'clock tomorrow night in Seattle, Seahawks 49ers. Home field advantage has no bigger advantage than in Seattle. The noise potential is going to be a major problem for the 49ers. How does Brock Purdy handle this? How does the 49er passing offense, how will they look without Kittle, with all the injuries? And Seattle's defense, which shut the 49ers down a couple of weeks ago, embarrassed them on national TV. They know what to do against the 49ers. They know how to stop the 49ers. You stop McCaffrey. You stop McCaffrey. I'm sorry. Yes, you stop McCaffrey. And you basically paralyze the 49er offense from doing anything else from there on in. The Niners survived and beat the Eagles last week because the Eagles are a dysfunctional team, a dysfunctional unit. And their quarterback is, I think, as overrated as it gets. I know he won the Super Bowl last year, but that was more because of the defense dominating the Chiefs than anything else. The Seahawks rank second overall in defense. And they've limited the 49ers to an average of 10 points per game across the last two meetings. Mike McDonald's defense, unfortunately, will find a way to grind out another win for the Seahawks. For the 49ers, this was a great year with all the injuries, with all the turmoil. They got to the playoffs. They got a playoff win. They're playing with house money now. Anybody who expects them to go further than this, you'd have to be insane. Could it happen? Could they pull out another miracle? Could McCaffrey go crazy like he did last week? The crazy plays, the touchdowns, and all this and that? Oh, yeah. Seattle aren't the Eagles. Darnold, I know people are going to think I'm crazy for saying this. Darnold is a much more efficient quarterback than Jalen Hurts could ever be. The Niners are beat up on defense. They cannot stop the running game. Seattle will run the ball against them up and down the field. It's a great run. And I'm very, very, very I'm very critical of Shanahan. But he's done a great job this year. And if he wins Coach of the Year, good for him. But unfortunately, my nightmare scenario is developing. And the 49ers will fall, and their season will end tomorrow. I think the Seahawks will put it up 24-16. I think it'll be a respectable game throughout, but I just think that the Niners will just run out of gas because they have guys playing linebacker who are basically hauling meat a week ago. I mean, they found these guys on the street. You can't expect them to do this every week. And last week was more on the Eagles rather than the 49ers being better. It ends tomorrow. And listen, I picked against the 49ers last week. I'm a very superstitious guy. If you think I'm going to pick them this week to win, you're crazy. We can't jinx us. We can't jinx our guys. Sunday afternoon, Patriots Houston. This is an interesting game, and I think this will be the uglier game of the four. New England has a defense that smothers you, and we saw that against the Chargers last week. They just allowed 3 points. And they have incredible confidence in their coach, in themselves. And the Patriots like to win games that are ugly and by defense, even though they have a great quarterback. However, the Texans' defense is remarkable, maybe second only to Denver, I would say. Both teams have very strong defenses that will make this a low-scoring game. The only question that I have would be which quarterback will be able to break through that defense, or which quarterback makes a mistake. CJ Stroud on Monday night was abominable. If you look at that game, if you look at his stats before looking to see who won, you would have thought the Steelers won 30-6, not the other way around. That's how bad he was. He cannot be that bad again. And I don't think they're going to give him a lot of opportunities to be that bad again. The Texans have the number one defense in the league. I think Denver's is, because of their pass rush, is better. Drake May is playing on an MVP level. Drake May is young. Drake May doesn't have any experience. And great defenses show inexperienced quarterbacks. They show their ass. People are going to think I'm crazy for saying this. I think the Texans are going to the AFC Championship game against Buffalo. Texans 14, Pats 10. This is going to be a slugfest. You're going to see a lot of injuries in this game. You're going to see a lot of defensive plays. I don't think you're going to see very much from the offense. And let me tell you something. I don't think the Texans are going to score 14 points on offense. I think they're going to need it. They're going to need a touchdown, maybe two on defense and maybe on special teams. That's where their bread is buttered. That's how they'll beat the Pats. I think the Texans will smother the Pats. They'll stuff the Pats down. Drake May will make the mistakes I thought he would make last week. But this is building blocks for him. This is learning. He'll be back. Trust me. He's the real deal. Vrabel is the real deal. The Pats are growing, and they're going to be great again. But not this year. It's too soon. Texans 14-10 over the Pats. Now, the game that everybody and their mama is talking about is Chicago, LA. This is what Chicago looked like just a couple of days ago. Take a look at this. This is how people live in this shit. I'll never know. But this is the city of Chicago. The Rams haven't played in weather under 50 degrees all season long. All season long. The call is this weekend's game for the Bears and the Rams is expected to not only be under 10 degrees at various points of the game, but there's expected snow on its way. Dome teams do not adjust to this very well. The Rams are a dome team, as we know. Dome teams are 1-15 in the playoffs in the last decade when playing under 40 degrees. That is a massive advantage for the Bears. Massive. Massive. However, and there always is a however, the Bears, to me, surged last week. That was their peak. The Rams are a professionally run team. Matt Stafford and McVay should find a way to pick apart Chicago's defense and get the Rams through to the AFC Championship game. The Rams have almost every offensive edge in this game. but their defense has allowed an average of 30 points per game over the last 5 outings. The Bears must avoid a slow start. They may be able to hang around for this one, but their head coach, who is becoming very quickly one of the most hated people around the league, if he tries the same shit he tried last week, trying to be too cute, trying to outsmart people, trying to impress, trying to gloat, that first half, the Packers ran them out of the building, 21-3 at halftime. The only reason why the Bears, who have been coming back, it seems like all season, the only reason why the Bears have been coming back in these games is most of the time the coaches that they're facing are assholes or just they're just shit. That's not McVay. If McVay has a lead, he's going to turn to that running game, that power football game, and they will wear the Bears down, especially with that weather. The Rams can adjust because they're not your prototypical dome, throw it 50 times a game type team. They like to run the football. They play off the run. And the Bears are not in any way, shape, or form a great run stopping team. The Bears will give up points. The Bears will score points, but the Bears will give up more. We've seen that. This, to me, will be the classic game. I think this will be the game everybody talks about on Monday. I think this will be the game that produces the NFC representative to the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks. And of course, my nightmare scenario when I saw that playoff lineup a couple of weeks ago, we know the Super Bowl's in Santa Clara. We know who plays there. This shit sucks. This will be a classic. This is the game that you go to a bar, have a few beers with your buddies, get some wings, get some nachos, and you sit back and relax if you're a neutral, because this will be an all-time classic. I know the weather's going to suck. I know there's going to be snow. I know all this stuff. We know it. But neither one of these teams will be able to stop each other. Stafford will have the ball last. Stafford will make the plays. The Rams will score last. And the Bears will go home after a brilliant season. Brilliant season. An exciting season. And Chicago should be proud, and they have a lot to look forward to in the future. But the Rams take this one because I think this is the Rams' year. I always thought the Rams were the Super Bowl team this year out of the NFC. I still do. Bills Rams is what I thought would happen, and it's on track to do so. We were 3-3 last week. Let's see if we can improve on that. Rams 35, Bears 31. We will be on Monday talking about Indiana, Miami, of course. Indiana, a huge 8.5-point favorite. Don't discount the fact that Miami is a much bigger team than Indiana and a much faster team than Indiana. They are athletically gifted, but Indiana are a machine. And that machine shut down the most gifted team in the country in Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. They embarrassed physically superior teams in Alabama and Oregon. We'll talk about that that's for another day. But the picks: Bills 23, Broncos 20, Seahawks 24, Niners 16, Texans 14, Pats 10, Rams 35, Bears 31. This should be exciting. This should be fun. Enjoy the football. Do it safely. Do it cautiously. Don't get into any arguments or fights or anything like that. This is when assholes come out of the woodwork. Enjoy the football. Have fun. And we'll go from there. And there's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Be careful, my friends, because remember, Satan is always busy. He'll be out this weekend, I'm sure. Be a man and have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. Have a good week.